pro-life, I'm going to say this harshly. Pro-life doesn't end when the kid is born. Pro-life, I'm going to say again, pro-life doesn't end when the kid is born. Usually, conservatives are pro-life, but they are pro-death penalty. Are you pro-life if you are pro-death penalty? That doesn't make sense. Are you pro-life when usually uh, guys on the left, and the America doesn't have a real left, but when people on the left go and say, "Oh, we need more subsidies to the single mothers so they can raise better the kids," da, 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 da. What do the guys on the right say? No, they have to pick up by the bootstraps and they need to fight. If you are pro-life, you have to put money so the kid has a good life. I already went to Philadelphia. I already went to Los Angeles. The if you want to show fetus, show Skid Row. How can you be pro-life if you're not willing to take money and put the money on the homeless problem that's increasing in America? You live in San Francisco, you know about that. They take 33 million billion dollars to put in Ukraine, but they don't solve, for example, the homeless issue in the United States. That's not being pro-life, because life doesn't end when the kid is born. They are pro-fetus. They want to regulate morality and they want to regulate what happens inside of the woman, but as soon as the kid comes out, they don't care. They don't care about the money that is put in the school system. They don't care about the money that's put to fight the homeless problem. They don't care about the wars. Yeah, they are pro-life, but they are going to kill each other on other countries that have nothing to do with them. How is that being pro-life? How can the United States have 50% of their money that they make on the defense system? The 8 countries that have more money on the defense system, the United States have this more than the biggest 8 armies in the world. How can a country that spends half of that money be pro, but have people there that say, "Oh, I'm pro-life"? No, you guys are not pro-life. You are pro-life when the life is inside of the belly of the woman. As soon as the kid goes out, it's not my problem. Almost you do it. The prison system, there's no problem, even if it's run by companies. My school tuition is not paid. I go to school and I have debt till I'm 40. That's not pro-life. That's pro-birth. Pro-life is pro-quality of life. You can say that you are pro-life, and then when somebody says, "Okay, give me money so I can get a better life for myself," no, 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 no. You go to work. That's not how it goes. Or you are pro-life from the beginning to the end, or you don't stop when the kid is born.
All right, no worries. Thank you, Fatty. Thank you, Fatty, for sharing your opinion. I know everybody's in the live chat sharing their thoughts about it. Appreciate that.
Can I ask just one
I know
question,
Malia.
real? Just one question. I'm not going to talk.
I got you. I got you right after. I got you right after. But I know Malia. For the sake of time, Fatty, I'll let you ask after. But I know Malia wants to respond. Go ahead, Malia. Go ahead, Malia.
Fatty, I hope you feel better. I hope you get better.
No, this is my last chance.
But um but I have to say I don't think it's right that you speak on racism in the US. And the reason why I say that is because you're a non-FBA. So that's what I got to say
What
about
does that
that.
mean? Can you explain?
You're not a foundational Black American.
But you know what colonization is?
Yes, I do.
You know how many years African countries were colonized by
Yes,
Portuguese,
I do. But
Spanish?
this case
500
that we're
years.
talking about is surrounded
Okay.
around American
The country from
racism,
my the country
around
of my
American history.
Fatty,
the
Fatty,
can,
Fatty. Let her finish her
I
thought.
will, but
Good.
the country of my fathers had independence for 45 years ago.
Okay.
How much time did the slaves were released in the United States and have rights? Don't talk about what you don't know. Okay.
Okay. Like I
Okay.
said, I know about American history. I don't know about your people's history, but I know that white supremacy does affect the whole world. So I understand. But what I'm just saying is that you can't speak on American politics because you're not FBA. But all I gotta say is that as far as my stance on it, if it's not your uterus, if it's not your vagina, it shouldn't be your matter. You should just learn to mind your business and let people do what they do.
Okay. All right, no worries, Malia. Thank you for sharing that. Matilda, you have something to say?
Yeah. So obviously I'm pro-life. Colin is pro-birth is absolutely not true. I'm in the UK or Northern Ireland. Like I've said before, I don't know if you've been here the whole time. Where I live and in the region I'm in, there's a lot of people, myself included, involved in some, that after the baby is born, we try our hardest to get these children what they need, to get clothes, to get them food, to get them whatever their family needs to keep them stabilized. If a 14-year-old Ned comes up to me in the street and goes, give me money to get me drugs, or give me money to get me a bottle of wine, absolutely not. So to call us pro-birth is very different. The definition of pro-life. So I'm obviously a teenage girl, and I'm sure you're a grown man, so you'll have a lot more experience, I'm sure, on this than me. But the
Yeah, we're
definition,
not going to talk about that.
okay, you can talk about that. But the definition of pro-life means that I am not for the killing of unborn babies. So if that child gets a life, gets to be born, then fair enough. But I'm not going, because the point in it is for the child to be born. The point of it is for that child to be given the chance of life. I'm not sitting here with the Justin Bieber lifestyle, am I? I don't think anyone here is. But my right of life does not depend on my circumstances. My life does not become less valuable because of how I was born, how I was conceived, or if I've been forcibly birthed out. No one held a gun to my mother's throat and said, give birth to this child. So I think to call us pro-birth is a very big step than what we are.
Yeah, you are pro-birth because
Okay.
the funny thing is, and by the way, Matilda, I'm from Portugal. How are you? The funny thing about this, and this is very funny, is that Ireland has a lot of problems with single mothers right now, and
I'm
with
aware.
kids,
I live here.
and with kids in foster care.
I live here. Yeah, I know.
Foster care is underfunded.
Are they kids less worthy than me, though?
No. Listen to what I'm saying. Foster care is terribly underfunded to the point you have to go do charity and give something to the kids that the state should be. So if you are pro-life, and somebody says, hey, Matilda, you already pay taxes for the lights on the street, for the pavement on the ground, for the roads, for this and for that, and we are going to take a cut to give to these kids that don't have fathers and mothers at home and live in foster. You know what most conservatives and guys that usually are on the right say? No, my taxes, this is my money, this is big government, don't do that, give me my money. This is what they do. They want the option to go give it like you do. But if the state comes and says, we are going to take money to eliminate homelessness and eliminate and give better opportunities to the orphanage people, most conservatives don't allow that because they like small government when it talks to the taxes that they paid, when it talks to the decision that they made. But when it comes to abortion, now they want big government. Now they want laws to control everything on the woman's body. That's the point. It's a contradiction.
It's the thing here in the north of Ireland, since we're talking about where I stay. The thing here, and I will give you that, the government is absolutely appalling. I take nothing to do with my government. It's disgusting. Our whole thing here is with politics and religion. We're still living in the 80s between the Irish army and the English army. That's all the north of Ireland cares about right now. We voted last week for our parties, and what people voted, if you were Christian or if you had the more moral views that abortion was wrong, you would vote for one party and you would keep away from this party. There's a religious problem here, and there's a very big political problem here. So here I agree with you completely. I am disgusted to be Irish and live here because of what they do. They do not pay, you're right, when children are born, but we do have the NHS, which I'm sure, I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah, I know. It's a national system. It's in Portugal. The system is the same.
Yeah, so it's our healthcare, and we have a lot of help after it. So when a baby is born, if the woman doesn't want it, there's a lot of care, and I trust me, I know a lot about this, considering the fact I'm here. I understand why you think I'm pro-birth and how I don't give a shit about the kids once they're out the womb. I understand that. That's fair enough. But I can't physically be in one human being, one girl sitting here at 7 o'clock in the morning, can't go out and get every single child that's just been born and take them under my wing. See, if I could, I would, but I'm not Mother Teresa. So unfortunately, it does take other people like myself and Rose, even though she's on the other side of the world, to try and take a lead on this and realize that women need to realize that abortion, it's not the way to go. You know what I mean?
How old are you, Matilda?
18.
Do you think most girls with your age or with 25, or because now you are very young,
Yeah.
you are very, do you think most women with 30, with kids, with jobs, with stuff to do, are doing the same thing as you? Because it's easy for them to say, I'm pro-life. But going to the shelter on Saturday is not for everyone. Going to the orphanage on
But the
Sunday.
thing, yeah, but it's a bit, my generation, I feel like there isn't a lot of young pro-lifers. There's some, but the majority, from what I've grew up with, even when I was in Scotland and my school here, it was all about drugs, party, and sex. That's all it revolved around. And I'll admit, I was one of them teenagers when I was like 15, 16. But then when you look into world problems that's going on, like we can talk about Ukraine and Russia, but that's only because the media portrays it. There's a lot of other things going on in the world that we only don't see because BBC News isn't out there with their cameras in their faces. To be pro-life doesn't mean I have to go to a shelter on a Sunday. Being pro-life means I'm fighting for the right of unborn children. That is the definition of pro-life.
But looking at the outside, we are outside of the United States.
Guys, hold on. I know the conversation going, but for the sake of time, we gotta come to the end. I appreciate that. I appreciate the response. Real quick, I want to get the ladies real quick. I know some of you guys have heard what Fatty said and their responses with Matilda. I want to get your final thoughts real quick before we conclude. I know Rose, you have something to say?
Yeah, I have a few things to say. I understand your point of view, Patty. You're focusing, your focus is on all lives rather than ones that are unborn. Agree. We should all be life for that are already born. And then I just wanted to say some comments that my sister, she texted me. She was saying that the foreigner has a better idea of American politics than Americans because they don't have biased news media. That's true. My brother-in-law's Romanian. He knows more about politics than any American I know because he's getting it from different perspectives. Whereas here in the US, we only get so much. The news is all biased. Where you're outside, you get different sources. So you don't get it, news that's as biased as well. And then she said, foreigners are more informed with Americans in the world than us. And that is true. And she says, Fatty, you do make a good point. Giving money, but giving money doesn't solve issues. It creates dependency. Look at welfare. And that's something I wanted to also just notate. I
agree with her. I just wanted to say, but giving $33 billion to Ukraine when you have an homeless epidemic in the United States, it's funny. It's like hilarious.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I definitely feel like money should be used to take care of all the issues we already have than trying to take care of other countries' issues when we have our own issues. It doesn't make sense. It's like when you have a child and it's drowning, you have to know how to swim so you can go save the child instead of going and trying to save a child that, it's like the airplane. You have to put your mask on first before you put your child's mask on, because if you can't breathe, your child won't breathe. So